E.
G'day and welcome back to the 3CIR podcast. I'm Joel, most folks call me Slate, and I'm here with the man who can turn a lesson plan into a good yarn, Jury. How you doing, mate?
Feeling dangerous, Slate. Got a coffee, got a head full of ideas, and I'm ready to ruffle a few feathers in the name of learning. If you're new here, this is the show where two ex-military blokes turn big topics into conversations you can actually use. We're flying under the flag of 3CIR, an Aussie online education provider founded by veterans for veterans, emergency services, and anyone who wants to level up.
Right on. And at the core of 3CIR, we've got our compass points: courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, respect. Not just paint on the wall, that's the stuff we've lived by. The stuff we build into how we help people transition, upskill, and make a plan that fits real life, not the other way around.
Exactly. We started out helping our brothers and sisters shift from uniform to Civvy Street, and now we're bringing those same battle-tested tools to everyone. Recognition of prior learning, RPL, is the big one. That's where your experience counts. You don't throw away years of frontline factory or family life to start from scratch. You map what you already know to a qualification and fast-track the bits you've got locked down.
Today's topic hits right in the sweet spot. The benefits of opting to upskill, especially online. Why now? Why e-learning? Why 3CR? Short version: because the world doesn't wait, and neither should you. Long version: well, that's why you're here.
And if you're listening on the commute or between shifts, this one's built for you. We're going to keep it practical. By the way, we'll be teasing next week's episode on leadership, because upskilling and leadership, two sides of the same coin.
Let's set the scene. Tech is sprinting. New tools, new platforms, AI in your pocket. The internet cracked the world open and education climbed right through the window. That means you've got more access than ever. Live content, video modules, quizzes, community forums on your phone, your tablet, or the ancient laptop you keep threatening to replace.
Don't slander my laptop, mate. It's vintage. But you're right, the game has changed. E-learning isn't a nice to have, it's how busy people actually finish, which takes us to the first big benefit: convenience. And I don't mean I can study in my pajamas convenience, though no judgment. I mean life-proof flexibility. Kids, shift work, long commute, got you.
I worked with a former signals tech, Mel, who was juggling 2 kids and a paramedic schedule. Nights, weekends, the whole carousel. She'd knock out a lesson at 5 a.m. before breakfast chaos, another one in the ambulance bay when things were quiet, quiz on her phone during lunch. E-learning lets you slice time into pieces and still move the ball forward.
There's that slow or fast-paced thing too. Some of us like to camp on a topic, others want to sprint and binge a weekend. Online learning lets you ride your tempo. Early in my own transition, I tried classroom nights. Good people, but I was shattered after a long day. Online let me hit a module when my brain was actually on, and that meant I remembered it, applied it, kept moving.
And if your life isn't predictable, emergency services, FIFO work, contracting, e-learning is the only system that realistically bends to you. That's huge, because nothing kills momentum faster than a timetable you can't keep.
Speaking of momentum, let's open a loop. We'll close later. Micro-learning. Little bites, huge progress. Hold that thought. We'll circle back.
Before we get too deep, let's call out the money side. Benefit number 2, affordability. People assume online equals cheap as chips, but it's more nuanced. It's not about undercutting quality, it's about cutting out the bloat. No venue hire, no travel, no printed binders that gather dust, no unpaid leave to attend a 3-day workshop. The cost you pay is the value you get, not the overhead.
And if you're working for an organization that invests in staff, there's a conversation to be had. Leadership training, HR skills, safety quals, these aren't nice to haves for businesses. They reduce risk and improve performance. I've seen managers happily sponsor e-learning because it's efficient, trackable, and doesn't take their team off the tools for a week.
Exactly. We've had plenty of listeners go to their boss and say, here's the course, here are the outcomes, here's how it reduces my safety incidents or helps me manage projects better, and here's why online means I'm not away from the job. That's a win. And for you as a learner, the real saving is time, because time is the one budget most of us are overdrawn on.
All right, third headline, paperless. Now, this one might sound small in the grand scheme, but it's meaningful. When the course materials, assessments, feedback, and certificates live online, you're not drowning in loose pages or hunting for a missing form. You're clicking through a clean interface. Tick a box, type a short answer, upload evidence of your prior work or service record. Done.
And there's a sustainability angle that matters. Lower carbon footprint, fewer trucks carting boxes of handouts, less waste in the bin. You're doing something for yourself and doing right by the planet. The old soldier in me likes leaving a small footprint where I can...
You and me both. And to put some flesh on it, we've got folks who finish their entire qualification with everything stored in the cloud. When they apply for a role, they're not rifling through drawers. They send a link, a PDF, and they're in the shortlist. The admin becomes a strength, not a chore.
Now, let's stitch RPL into this. Because when you bring recognition of prior learning into e-learning, that's when it gets powerful. If you've run a team, handled procurement, managed safety, planned operations, why would you relearn those fundamentals? With 3CIR, we gather your evidence, map it to national units, and give credit where it's due. Then you only study the gaps. That's more progress, less wheel spinning.
I think about Mick, ex-infantry. He could coordinate a patrol and a logistics resupply blindfolded, but on paper, nothing. He came through RPL, and those years turned into a nationally recognised qualification in work health and safety. He didn't need to sit through basic risk modules he'd lived for a decade. He focused on the civvy language, the reporting frameworks, and bang, he stepped into a safety advisor role. Pays better than the old days too.
Right, and then there's Narelle from the Ambos. She'd led crews through high-stress call-outs for years. RPL got her credit for leadership and incident management. She grabbed an online leadership unit to fill the gap, watched videos in the break room, sat a couple of scenario-based assessments, and used it to move into a coordinator position. Kids at home, nights on the roster, but she finished because it flexed around her reality.
Let's circle back to microlearning like we promised. The reason people finish is the course is chunked into pieces. 10 minutes here, 20 there. Watch a short video on hazard identification, do a quick quiz, submit a reflection. Learning goes from this giant mountain to a trail of stepping stones. You know what I mean?
And that's where 3CIR's mix of content comes in. Short videos, plain English readings, case studies that look like the jobs you actually do, not vague hypotheticals. If you lean visual, we've got videos covering leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management, the whole spread. It's like an on-ramp for your brain.
I'll throw a resource plug without blushing. Hop onto 3cir.com and look at the courses page. You can browse by category and level. If you're unsure where to start, use the RPL assessment tool. It's quick, tell the system what you've done, and it guides you on what quals might be within reach. People are often shocked by how much they already qualify for.
That surprise is the good kind. You see your experience in a new frame. Suddenly, the path from here to your next role isn't this foggy dream. It's a checklist.
Let's talk about learning on the go, because that's the everyday reality. One of my favorite examples is a truckie named Aaron. He'd queue a podcast or module while waiting at a depot, then review a PDF at night on a tablet. He'd leave himself voice notes, little debriefs, just like after a mission. That's adult learning at its finest, the kind that fits the life you've got.
Another angle we don't talk about enough, confidence. When you upskill online and you start ticking off modules, your sense of possibility expands. You realize, hey, I can still learn, even after 10 years out of a classroom. That's the mental fuel that makes big pivots possible.
And it's not just about chasing a new job. Some folks use e-learning to be better where they already are. A manager wants to lead with more clarity. A team member wants to contribute smarter in safety meetings. A sole trader wants to pitch and market their services without feeling like a pretender. Upskilling is professional armor.
Let's touch affordability again with a twist. It's not only the sticker price. Consider opportunity cost. Traditional classroom asks you to be somewhere at a specific time. That's transport, maybe childcare, maybe a day off. With e-learning, you reclaim that time. It's like swapping a long supply line for a lean logistical tail. More efficient, less exposed.
And if you do have to pay out of pocket, scaling the path helps. Start with a short course. Get a taste, build momentum, prove to yourself and your boss that you'll follow through. Then RPL the next step. Before you know it, you've stacked a qualification without the shock to your calendar or wallet. Or
there's also the matter of support. People sometimes picture online learning as this lonely slog. Not on our watch. You've got assessors, you've got guidance, you've got humans reachable by email or phone, and the instructions are built so you know exactly what good looks like.
You're reminding me of something funny. A bloke called in and said, I've not written an essay since the Nokia 3310 was king. How am I going to pass? We talked it through. The format wasn't academic hoop jumping. It was give examples, show what you did, reflect on outcomes, and for a couple of items, tick the right boxes in a quiz. He smashed it. Confidence unlocked.
Paperless assessments help there too. A lot of the tasks are scenario-based. You choose from options, you map your actions, or you upload a short video talk through. This isn't about showy vocabulary, it's about competence.
I want to pause on environment again because it matters more than we think. When you go paperless, you also go portable. Your learning isn't tied to one location, it lives in your pocket. That mobility reduces friction. Less friction equals more completion. Simple as that.
Let's sprinkle in some categories people ask about. WHS is huge. Safety underpins operations across industries. You've got HR for people management, security for physical and corporate protection, business and marketing for entrepreneurs and managers, government qualifications for public service roles, project management for getting complex stuff done. If any of those ring a bell, there's likely a course track waiting.
And the videos tied to those categories are a quick way to see if the vibe suits you. Visual learners, you'll love it. You can jump from a leadership clip to a project risk overview and suddenly the dots connect.
Another benefit of e-learning in a fast-changing world, updates. When legislation shifts or best practice evolves, online content can be refreshed quickly. You're not stuck with a manual printed 3 years ago. You're getting the version that aligns with today's requirements. That's not just convenient, that's compliance.
I wish we'd had that back in the day. Nothing like getting handed a binder that still mentions procedures from a unit that no longer exists. With online, the lag time shrinks.
Let's talk outcomes, because that's what counts. People ask, what happens when I finish? We're seeing clients land promotions, pivot industries, formalize what they've been doing informally for years, and get paid accordingly. That's not hype. That's patterns.
Sally comes to mind. 10 years as a team lead in retail and hospitality. Anyone who's done that knows it's battle rhythm every day. She RPL'd into leadership and HR units, did 2 targeted e-learning modules to fill knowledge gaps in industrial relations, and within 3 months, she was a HR coordinator. Same grit, new language, better pay.
Or Damien, security supervisor, tons of on-the-ground experience. RPL got him most of the way. He topped up with a project management module online to handle client rollouts. Now he's coordinating across sites, not just standing post. That's what upskilling does. It widens your field.
While we're on stories, I've got one more. Priya worked in a call center, sharp as a tack. She was already essentially running team scheduling, onboarding new starters, and solving customer crises. She thought she needed to start from zero to get a business qual. RPL said otherwise. She pocketed credit for communication, customer service, and basic leadership units, then learned the finance and marketing pieces online. She moved into business admin with authority. It wasn't a leap of faith. It was a series of steps.
If you're listening and thinking, okay, how do I begin without getting overwhelmed? Here's our battle plan. 1. Hit the 3CIR courses page. 2. Run the RPL pre-assessment. 3. Talk to us or your employer about a sensible learning path. 4. Schedule your time. 10 minutes a day is viable. 5. Use the videos as warm-ups. Prime your mind before assessments.
And be honest about your tempo. Some weeks you're humming, others life throws a curveball. The beauty of e-learning is the pause button. You can stop and start without losing momentum. Pick up the thread when you're ready.
Let's get practical about study tactics. For convenience, set your device up like a cockpit. Notifications off, course tab open, notes tool ready. 2 timers, one for focus, one for break. That tiny bit of structure adds hours back to your month.
For affordability, track your wins. If your employer's backing you, share short updates. Hey boss, finished the WHS risk unit, already used it to flag a hazard in the warehouse. That kind of feedback keeps support flowing and turns your course into visible ROI.
For paperless, use digital note systems. Tag notes by unit. When it's time to apply or interview, you've got a crisp record of what you learned and where you used it. That's a cheat code for your CV and selection criteria.
Let's hit a common fear. I'm not techie. Look, if you can send an email and shop online, you can do this. The platform's built for humans, not computer scientists. And if you get stuck, there's actual people. We've both been there. The trick is to ask early, not after you've spent an hour arguing with your password.
Speaking of arguing with password managers, another real-world tip: save your downloads and certificates to a cloud folder. Future you will thank you when HR asks for proof at 4 p.m. on a Friday.
Quick detour to resilience, which we covered in a previous episode. Upskilling is a resilience move. You build options, you grow your capacity to adapt, and mentally you shift from fearing change to initiating it. That does wonders for your stress levels, especially in industries that are always moving.
You can't control the economy, but you can control your readiness. That's the military lesson we carry into civilian life. Prepare, rehearse, execute. E-learning is the prepare phase. RPL is the shortcut you earned through experience.
Let's layer in camaraderie. You're not alone. When you join the 3CIR community, you're alongside people who get it. Veterans, emergency services, civilians who learn while juggling real responsibilities. That shared understanding keeps you going on the tough days.
And it boosts integrity too. You're doing it right. No cutting corners. You're being assessed on real skills, demonstrated knowledge, and practical application. That integrity shows in your work later.
And respect, self-respect, first and foremost. There is something powerful about getting your experience recognized. You walk taller, you contribute louder. That matters in a team because confidence is contagious.
At this point, you might be thinking, all right, which course? If leadership sings to you, we've got a whole path there, and we're about to tease that for next week. If safety is your jam, WHS qualifications are in demand across the board. HR helps you be the person who navigates people problems intelligently. Security's expanding into cyber and risk. Business and marketing drive the revenue engine. Government roles require specific quals that we map neatly. Project management ties it all together with timelines, budgets, and stakeholders. Choose your arena.
And if you're stuck between 2 lanes, start with a short unit or a video series. You might be surprised which topics fire you up. It's like trying on boots. You'll know when the fit is right.
Let's not forget one of my favorite hidden benefits: less intimidating communication. Being behind a screen gives you time to think. You can craft a considered answer, not just blurt the first thing under fluorescent lights. That actually improves the quality of your learning and your reflection.
And a shout out to the commute learners. If that's you right now, you're doing it. You're turning dead time into seed time. It's the smallest consistent habits that grow the biggest change.
We should acknowledge the old school crowd because I hear you. Classroom has its charm. You get face-to-face energy, and for some topics, it's great. But after hours, when you've worked all day, that model can backfire. E-learning isn't here to replace connection. It's here to remove excuses. It gives you control.
And remember, it's not binary. Plenty of people mix it. RPL to fast track, online modules for skill gaps, maybe a workshop or live session for a specific practice. Flexibility is the name of the game.
All right, let's give a lightning checklist of the big benefits so far. Convenience. Study anywhere, anytime at your own pace. Affordability. Strip out travel, time off, and unnecessary materials. Paperless. Organized, sustainable, and portable. RPL. Recognize experience. Skip what you already know. Focus on the gaps. And the kicker, real outcomes tied to jobs and promotions.
Plus, support from people who've walked the road. If you're ex-military or emergency services, you'll feel seen. If you're civilian, you'll feel respected. Either way, you'll feel guided.
Before we land this plane, let's spell out some practical next steps. Jump onto 3CKO.com, head to the courses section and explore. Watch a couple of short videos in categories you're curious about: leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management. Do the RPL pre-assessment. It's quick and eye-opening. If a qualification feels close, talk to us. We'll map a plan that fits your timeline.
And if you want to go from curious to committed, book a call. Have that conversation with your boss about sponsorship. Take the leap. Tomorrow, you will be grateful that today you lined up the first domino.
We promise to tease next week and I'm excited about it. Leadership. Not the buzzword version. We'll unpack practical leadership you can use even if you're not the one with the title. Influence, decision-making, clarity under pressure, and how e-learning and RPL can fast-track leadership capability.
We'll also chat about common leadership traps, over-communicating versus under-communicating, the myth of the heroic solo act, and how to build trust with a team that's hybrid or always in motion. If you've ever thought, I'm not a leader, just a doer, next week is absolutely for you.
Final thought for today: upskilling isn't just about a certificate. It's a commitment to being the kind of person who adapts, who learns, who stays mission ready. Courage to start, commitment to finish, camaraderie to stay connected, integrity in the process, respect for yourself and others. That's the 3CIR way.
If this got you thinking, take one action in the next 24 hours, one video, one RPL assessment, one email to your manager. Small steps are how big changes happen. And if you need a nudge, you've got two of us right here cheering you on.
All right, that's a wrap for this round. Check out the 3CIR courses, queue up a video, and set a 10-minute timer for your first bite. We'll be back to talk leadership and how to make your next move with purpose.
Catch you soon, crew. Keep your pace, keep your head up, and keep learning.